Yes, geezers, Zabu and Silver Surfer nerfs have been data mined. Give the video a like if you're excited. Silver Surfer 3-2. On reveal, give other free cost cards +2. Zabu 2-2. Ongoing, your 4 cost cards cost 1 less. Wow, a lot to unpick here, but right off the bat, I love these changes. The Silver Surfer one is exactly what I wanted to see and predicted in my video a couple of weeks back. The Zabu one, I'm very happy to see, because I was a little bit worried that Zabu at 4 energy would still be too strong, but they've pretty much given it a big rework. The Zabu decks are going to feel very different. I think gone are the days of these all-in Zabu decks, and Zabu is still going to be a powerful card, but with more niche archetypes. For example, Dark Hawk, a deck which already wants to play lots of 4-cost cards, will still run Zabu, I would imagine. Silver Surfer then, if you're buffing 1 card, is now playing for 4 points. Previously, it would play for 3. If you're buffing 2 cards, it's playing for 6 points, which is the same as it previously would. However, as soon as you're buffing it for 3 cards or more, you're getting less and less points. Previously, if you buff 3 cards, you'd get 9 points off Silver Surfer, whereas now it is just 6. So massively lowering the ceiling on Silver Surfer, but still a very powerful card in its own right. Remember, for a card to be competitive in Marvel Snap, you really want to be doubling the energy and a little bit more. So it's not going to be too difficult for Silver Surfer to still be achieving that. So it's absolutely still a good card. Perhaps Silver Surfer decks go slightly less all in on this combo. Perhaps they stay exactly as they are. Zabu, on the other hand, is going to definitely look very different. I would predict that Silver Surfer decks remain largely the same, maybe with just a few more 2-cost cards in there, less in on the Serra perhaps, I could see. It remains to be seen. Zabu though, no doubt in my mind, the decks are going to look very different. I think these decks, like I say, with Jubilee and with Dracula, are no longer going to be particularly popular. Of course, very significantly, Spider-Man, Absorbing Man on turn 5 is no longer going to be a possibility. However, it is worth mentioning with Quinjet and Moon Girl, you could still pull off some shenanigans like that, but it's going to be a lot more difficult, of course. Zabu going to reduce their cost to 3, and then if you are able to Moon Girl and have a Quinjet down, they would cost 2 each. The Quinjet versions would cost 2, right? The ones that you copy with Moon Girl. So it's still possible to double Spider-Man on turn 5, but you need the Moon Girl, you need the Quinjet, or some kind of other cost reduction alongside Zabu. So I think that's really healthy. That's really great. And yeah, I have built a Zabu deck to take a bit of a look at what these new Zabu decks might look like. This is a Dark Hawk version. I do think there's still going to be more versions of Zabu. I think Zabu could prove to still be a pretty good card. But this is the deck that just jumped out at me that should still be solid. You might notice that I have actually put Spider-Man, Absorbing Man, and Moon Girl in the deck. Whether that's correct or not remains to be seen. However, I did just want to bring to your attention the fact that you can still, on turn 4, play Spider-Man, and then on turn 5, play Absorbing Man to lock down 1 lane. That's still not too bad at all. It's certainly not as good as the other options were, but it's still not bad. Of course, with the Zabu then, it is going to be 2 costs, no longer 3 costs. What this means is on turn 3, you could play a 4-cost card. Pretty nice, playing a 4-cost card a turn early. And then on turn 6, you can play 2 4-cost cards. So the card is still getting you a lot of value. It gives you an extra 4-cost card at turn early, and then an extra 4-cost card on turn 6. Doesn't give you much extra on turn 5, which was previously a big turn with double Spider-Man. That's where the Quinjet in this one could come in, that little bit of extra cost reduction. You play Quinjet on 1, Zabu on 2, Moon Girl on 3, and then suddenly everything is looking a lot cheaper. You might be able to play a couple of 4s on turn 4 and turn 5 with the Quinjet situation. Pretty interesting. Whether this is the optimal way remains to be seen. America Chavez I've still put in there. She makes a lot of sense with Quinjet, with the fact that you still want Zabu on 2. You also want to be finding that Moon Girl early, and often your hand might be full going into turn 6. Dark Hawk's still going to be very strong indeed. Korg, of course, giving you some extra value. Wong is the main consideration in this one, perhaps instead of Spider-Man or Shang-Chi. Absorbing Man, still pretty solid on just copying Rockslide, but Wong is definitely a serious consideration for this one. Just wanted to give you a bit of an idea of what these Zabu decks could look like. Overall, my thoughts are very, very positive on these changes. My thoughts are that Silver Surfer decks will remain competitive, but no longer be right at the top of the meta. If these are the only nerfs, I am concerned about the potential power level of Shuri decks for the next couple of weeks. However, we do now know that they no longer need these big patches at the end of the month to change balance changes. So it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how the meta is shaken up. Leader, of course, got nerfed last week. Zabu now gets nuked. Although the card's still great, it's more like the whole deck itself is just going to be a lot weaker. And Silver Surfer has also got a very significant nerf. It really is a big nerf to Silver Surfer, but the card is still very good. Hopefully moving forwards, we aren't going to get these Battle Pass cards which just get printed massively overstated like these two, where it does look like Modok is much more reasonable. And that's the other thing, of course, with Modok being added into the game. There is going to be a whole lot of variety on the Marvel Snap ladder. My predictions for the meta, Shuri is going to be top don. I think that Aero decks in general are going to have a real resurgence and be particularly popular. Aero, just an amazing card. I think the fact that you can play Aero and a 1-drop, something like Aero and Titania on turn 6, or Aero and Miles, is really, really undervalued. So I'd expect Aero decks, Shuri decks to be very powerful. Maybe we could see a resurgence of some Sandman stuff as well. I personally love Sandman in Shuri decks, of course. So that's something that I'm going to be looking out for playing. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these changes. Are there any other Zabu decks that you're now really excited to play? Is there anything I'm missing out on? The fact that now Zabu costs 2, I suppose the other thing to mention is actually Zabu Mystique is suddenly a much more serious option. And interestingly, Mystique fits in well with Dark Hawk. You could play Zabu on 2, Mystique on 3. Previously, Zabu was so strong that there was almost no point of playing Mystique on Zabu because that cost reduction was already incredible. But Zabu on 2, Mystique on 3 would basically mean that all your cards, your 4-cost cards, cost 2. And that would be another way to do double Spider-Man. So maybe this is actually the deck, right? Zabu, Mystique, Dark Hawk with Quinjet and Moon Girl. The double Spider-Man isn't as dead as we first thought. The clogs are ticking in my brain the more I think about it. The other thing to consider is Serra with Zabu. I don't think that's going to be quite as good. Wave with Zabu could be pretty interesting with the fact that Zabu is giving you a cost reduction of 1. Wave sets the power of the cost of everything to 4. So if you have Zabu down on the board and you wave, that would mean that you're able to play 2 4-cost cards on turn number 6 with Zabu. So Wave Zabu could be a thing. I think Zabu Mystique sounds like the most promising. So any kind of ongoing deck, Wong would also fit into that category, right? 4-cost ongoing cards. You've got Dark Hawk, Super Scroll, not counting him too much, does seem like the way. So perhaps adding a Wong to this list, maybe instead of Shang-Chi, this could be the deck of dreams, it does seem. I think Zabu Mystique is something certain to look out for. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Looking forward to patch day. I'm going to be posting a bunch of videos with Modok, but also I guess I'll be posting videos on the new look Silver Surfer, the new look Zabu decks as well. If you watched this far, give the video a like. I appreciate you, and see you on the next one. Bye.